Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how are you today? This was just sent to me by Trish. And hi, Penelope. And it's an article, so I'm going to read it to you really quick. It's titled Experts Warn Cyber Hackers EMP Attacks and Solar Storms Could Annihilate Our Electric System. So, okay. I'm like, wow, is this ever just going to calm down for just a moment? You know what I mean? It's like, I seriously have a migraine even working on me right now because, Stormy, seriously? Not today, son. I'm serious. I literally have a migraine working on me between everything that's going on, between, like this, okay, what's going on with China, our food supply, okay, and everything I'm trying to get done in my house, right? And I can't even, like, my brain is like scrambled. It's terrible. It really is. I can't even like gather my thoughts together enough to even I'm just like I'm taking a break and I'm sitting down and I figured, well, let me just check my emails really quick, and I'm like, what? Are you serious right now? So anyway, the article says this: from natural phenomena to cyber attacks like the massive solar winds operation and recent attack on the Colonial Gas Pipeline, security experts warn it's clear that most businesses and key infrastructure like power grids across the country are woefully unprepared to meet such threats. They went after our gas and they went after our hot dogs. Oh, yeah, and let's not forget chicken wings, too. No one is out of bounds here. Everyone is in play here, warned Christopher Krebs, that's Krebs, former director of cybersecurity at Department of Homeland Security. Lawmakers like Senator Bob Hall, Republican of Texas, also warns that means hackers could be just a few keystrokes away from turning the lights out in cities across around our country. And yeah, this was, I said this already in a video. They are literally, it's just like, all you have to do is just press enter and it's lights out. We're done. Has anybody ever actually just sat back and thought about that? We are certainly vulnerable across the board to natural and man-made threats to our electrical grid system that could render it unrepairable in our lifetime. Unrepairable. So that to me screams that it's actually going to happen. And if they say now that it's unrepairable, what are they doing to even just like stop it? And are they finding a way or trying to find a way? Is there a plan B, C, D, E, F, G? You know what I mean? Like I had replied to one of you saying it's no more just plan A or plan B. We literally have to have plan A all the way to Z now. You know what I mean? Because how many of us are actually prepared? Like, okay, there's how many of us in this country, just in this country alone? 300 and something million, right? So then, out of just our country, how many of us are actually prepared for more than, say, 30 days? And I'm saying, food, water, okay, medical supplies. Okay, just those three things. Okay, now add in security, preps for our pets, preps for, if you have medical conditions, preps for, if you're pregnant, and you're due any day. Do you have preps for that child that's coming into the world? A lot of people don't think of long term going without electric. Do you have a way of cooking with no electricity? I have 3 different ways. 3 different ways. I have a propane gas grill, right? I have a camping stove, and I have my fire pit. What do you have? Right? Now, as for food, like stocked, like store bought, I have about 18 months. Plus, I have what's growing in my garden. Water, I have right now, because we just opened up another case, I have like 73 cases of water. I just don't think that a lot of people think along these lines. I do realize that a lot of people became preppers last year. Sean and I have been prepping for years, but we were only focused on hurricane season. And then when we got kicked in the butt last year, we really started amping it up, right? And we became full-time preppers. Is there a thing of part-time, full-time? I think so. But if the lights were to go out tomorrow, how long are my battery-operated candles going to last? I have a lot of batteries, yeah, and I have my Solar Crank weather radio and lots of flashlights and things like that. I have solar lights, right? But nothing to run my house. Like with the heat index, it's literally over 100 degrees out. We would literally meet our demise. Seriously, it's so hot. So, do I wish I had money in the bank to be like, all right, I'm going to go buy this, this, and that. And one of you had sent me the link to go buy a generator. It was like $300. So I'm going to look into that. But still in all, I think that would just keep like my freezer and my fridge going. Maybe a fan. But this is some serious crapola, man. When something like this is brought to the table, right? It makes you reevaluate not just your preps, but your entire life and how you live. Are your priorities straight? I seriously want you to sit down and reprioritize and look at everything and be like, holy cow, I'm a jackass. Do I really need all this shit? I'm serious. Like when Sean comes home tonight, I'm going to say, we need to cut this and cut that. And, I did it once before. I'm going to do it again. Our priorities are, listen, I'm getting off topic, but our priorities are straight. We have a few things that can be cut out, okay? But when I mean our priorities are straight. Our bills get paid every single month, okay? I'm not late on any mortgage payments. I'm not late on any bills. Everything gets paid on time, sometimes early. But this. So anyway, Hall said he's especially concerned about an EMP attack against the grid. All right, well, we all know what an EMP is, right? It can be natural or it can be man-made. Everybody knows that, right? It entails simply one small nuclear weapon being detonated above the central part of the U.S. over Nebraska, Kansas area that would create a pulse from coast to coast, from border to border. That would totally annihilate our electric system, he explained. So Nebraska and Kansas, yous guys, you're going to be the target. Hate to say it, but he said it. Okay? If that nuclear weapon gets detonated above yous guys, the rest of us, all right, everybody's going to feel it from that point on. Dr. Peter Pry, P-R-Y, a former CIA intelligence officer, sits on the Department of Homeland Security's EMP task force, right? And he released a report this week concluding that North Korea is now in possession of EMP weapons. Isn't that a frickin' surprise? All right? Or are you surprised? Because I'm not. And these EMP weapons are so strong that no electrical grid could survive such an attack. North Korea almost certainly has developed super EMP weapons, Pride told the news, the CBS News, right? These are nuclear weapons that are specialized to produce extraordinarily powerful electromagnetic pulse effects, and it would make it, along with Russia and China, one of the few nations in the world that has these weapons. Well, let me ask you this. Why don't we have them? I mean, I'm serious. Why do they have them and we don't? I think that should be something that we do have. Right? Hi, baby. I'm not upset. She thinks I'm upset. In collaboration, kitty out. In collaboration with the Air Force Joint Base in San Antonio, the one where they just had the shootout, the lockdown right on. Retired Brig General Guy Walsh, along with teams of researchers and scientists and security experts, are studying grid vulnerabilities and deploying measures to protect them from getting fried. Well, hang on. Get down for a minute, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'll let you out in a minute. And, I mean, that's great and all, but if there's no stopping this and there's no recovery from this, what makes these guys think that they can, I mean, seriously, think about it. You know what I mean? For obvious security reasons, Walsh won't divulge specifics, and why would he? But he says their goal is to really look across the board at training, education, and the technologies that are going to help make the electrical grid both resilient to attack, but also be able to recover more quickly. Well, that would be awesome. But the other guy just said, there would be no comeback. Meanwhile, grid operators in some regions of the country are also heeding warnings to prepare for solar storms and sunspots, blasting particles into space called coronal. It's CRONAL, mass ejections, or CME. So this is something else now that they want us to prepare for. But how do you prepare for something like this? If you know, let me know. Because I don't know. I mean, how many Faraday cages could we possibly have? What are you going to do, wrap your house in a Faraday cage? I mean, come on, I'm serious. This is, I'm not even kidding. Anyway, William Murtagh, that's M-U-R-T-A-G-H, his group at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, right, the NOAA, maintains a direct line with all the electric companies in the event of a geomagnetic eruption. When we see one of these large eruptions occurring in the sun, what we call the coronal mass ejection coming towards Earth, we initiate this hotline call and we make communication with essentially the entire grid. Owners and operators across the nation. Murtagh, who serves as program coordinator at NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center, told CBN News. Now, researchers with the U.S. Geological Survey released a map last year showing grid systems in the Midwest and Eastern Seaboard that are particularly vulnerable to solar storms. Murtagh says electricity operators are now constantly assessing areas of vulnerability. If there's vulnerability in certain equipment, maybe they can modify that equipment, the manufacturing of that equipment, to make it hardened, to make it better protected against a geomagnetic storm, Murtagh said. There are many different actions they can take to ensure that the grid stays up and running during these big geomagnetic storms. Still, the big challenge is that many of America's electricity systems weren't designed or built with the thought of being protected against cyber threats or EMP attacks, right? Because a lot of our electric systems, they were built, I mean, way before internet was even, you know what I mean, thought of. I mean, think about it. I mean, they do upgrades every now and then, but not to the extent that they should be. Think about that. Think about it. So the systems themselves are very antiquated. They are very old. Security is very difficult to do on these types of devices. And we've seen in prior attacks where, here we go again, Russia has infiltrated our power grid from a military preparedness perspective, which means in the event there's a conflict, could Russia impact our grid? Anybody can impact our grid, but I'm not worried about Russia. I'm worried about China. We all should be worried about China right now. Seriously. Anyway. And that's this guy who said that was David Kennedy. He's a cybersecurity expert and founder of Trusted Sec. It's TRUSTEDSEC and Binary Defense Systems. And Kennedy, a former NSA hacker, so he would know, if anybody would know, it would be him, said only a few of these electric grids are even prepared to handle today's level of hacking sophistication, especially those attacks coming from China. Yeah, exactly. China is very pressing because they have a very long-term view. They are very focused on intellectual property theft as well as their military capabilities from a cyber warfare perspective. I mean, they are handing it to us here in the United States from a cyber warfare perspective, and they are definitely scary, Kennedy said. The energy industry is the third most targeted sector for cyber criminals, behind only finance and manufacturing. I'm telling you, this is next. This is next. The power grid, it's next. I mean, it's common sense. And according to the Energy Department, hackers have the capability to shut down America's power grid. Yeah. And what do you think the ransom is going to be? What do you think that's going to be? You think it's just going to be a couple $100,000 or maybe 4 or 5 million? No. Think about it. Anyway, there are very malign actors who are trying even as we speak. There are thousands of attacks of all aspects of the energy sector and private sector generally. It's happening all the time. Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm told CNN recently, I just did a video on her, on what she said. Studies about costs run the gamut from more than $25 billion to protect the grid to as much as $7 trillion to upgrade and modernize the U.S. grid system. Well, you know what? I think that $7 trillion would be well freaking spent. But I'll shut up now. I mean, seriously. By the time they get done paying ransom after ransom after ransom after ransom, you're going to be spending a hell of a lot more than $7 trillion. Whatever. A new survey this week from the nonpartisan group Protect Our Power found a majority of people support more federal funding to secure our nation's electric grid ahead of a potential catastrophe. Yeah. As is so often the case when we face challenges or threats on the horizon, we are better off dealing with it before it hits as opposed to after it hits. Jim Cunningham with Protect Our Power told CBN News. I mean, it's almost like they want it to happen. But then again, I'm not the only one to say that, am I? A lot of you guys had said the same exact thing that I just said. They want it to happen. And it sucks. It sucks. Because I'm not the only one to say it. Because it's true. It's true. Anyway. All right, guys. I got to finish doing what I'm doing. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, stay positive, keep prepping, and as always, fear less. Bye.